Update. My ex-best friend said she had an affair with my boyfriend. The story doesn't check out. Original post. I, 23 female, will try to explain the situation the best I can, even though I am myself really confused. So it all started a few months ago, when my best friend Kim, 23 female, started questioning the liberty, more like trust, I give to Mike, 23 male. I don't make an issue of things that would normally be inappropriate for some people. I trust Mike's character and believe he will make the right choices. I also know I am the jealous type, so it is better to just let go for me and trust. I would rather he strays than behaves because I am watching solely. However, Kim kept trying to imply that he could be cheating on me and that I would have no idea. Her ex cheated on her. It was in high school though, so I guess she tends to be suspicious. Now, why my boyfriend? I thought it was because she was looking out for me. She is also friends with him, so surely she knows he is not that type, right? I know anyone can cheat, but let's agree that some people are really less likely to. Mike and I have been together 3 years. He is my first, and I love him very much. He is both a lover and friend to me, and our relationship is a source of happiness to me, and him too normally. Mike has never given me a reason to doubt him, never lied about serious things. Just insignificant things like saying he is arriving soon at my house, when really, he just finished showering. Basically, the idea of him cheating is foreign to me. We had strong and clear boundaries in place. I would be devastated if he did, knowing the type of person he is. But then again, most betrayed people thought like me anyway. Kim had been bringing it up on and off for the last few months, and a few weeks ago when she came to stay over, she dropped the bomb on me that supposedly Mike was cheating with her. At first, I felt really numb. I cried, I screamed, berated her, and drove to Mike's house at 2 a.m. She had shown me texts on WhatsApp with his name, and it was very clearly cheating. They had been together for 6 months. He would meet her on Mondays to have lunch, when he told me he usually has lunch with his parents. They apparently snuck out on New Year's Eve to fool around. I did lose sight of both of them at one point at that party, but found him with his friends later. I confronted him in this hysterical state, and he just looked confused. He kept denying up until the end. When I left, he was still denying everything. I don't use WhatsApp, but he used to. However, because of family problems, basically group chat issues it seems, he deleted it 2 months ago. So he had no way of proving to me he didn't cheat, unless calling his parents to confirm. But at that point, judging from his reaction, I already believed he didn't cheat. But I also couldn't believe Kim would lie. She has been my best friend for years. She always had my back. I would have trusted her with my life. That night we called her. She had left shortly after her confession, in which she cried like a real culprit, and Mike confronted her, but she kept to her story. She told him to admit it, that she couldn't continue anymore, couldn't do this to me, etc. They just kept arguing, and I asked her if he ever slept at her place at one point, and she said he did on a date where he was supposed to go meet his friend in a neighboring city 4 months ago. But it turns out that weekend in question, he was indeed supposed to go, but chose to stay with me, as I was having some issues. We spent that weekend together, and I really don't think he snuck out of the house at night. I also sleep while holding him tightly, and I would have felt it if he had moved, so her story didn't check out. I told her that, and she said she must have confused the dates. Apart from the texts, she has no other proof. However, she seemed really hurt that I wouldn't trust her, but there is a big hole in hers. While except for the WhatsApp being deleted, there is nothing else that is suspicious for him. His texts with her are normal, basic, friendly stuff and have been for a month. I can't go further up on his phone to retrieve texts. They are not deleted. It's just like that for some reason. Now Kim and I don't speak to each other anymore. Mike is beyond furious at her and I am confused. I believe my boyfriend, but I just can't wrap my head around the idea that Kim would lie like that. And for what? She is good friends with Mike too. It's not as if she disliked him. A small part of me wonders if I did not clear the wrong person, but really Mike would have to win an Oscar if he can feign innocence so well. I know my last option is for him to get his mom to confirm, but at this point, I wonder if it really is necessary to drag her into our problems. There are his friends too, but as much as I trust Mike, if he really did cheat, those guys would protect him and lie until the end. I could also contact Kim and verify it's his number listed on WhatsApp, but I don't think Mike would appreciate that after the scene I caused that night. He was more concerned and understanding than mad, but that's because Kim was my best friend, and he could see how I would take her words for the truth. But would someone really invent months of conversations just to break a relationship? What was she doing? Texting herself? Am I right to believe him? Aren't I being blinded by my feelings? I know there isn't a clear question, but in this situation, what is the next step for me? Now for the top advice before reading the update. The premise is flawed. If she was really your friend, she would not have slept with your boyfriend. So either 1, she is telling the truth, which means she is not your friend, or 2, she is lying to break you up, which means she is not your friend. Therefore, she is not your friend. I read it as OP's friend trying to break them up because she wants to be with her boyfriend, got upset because he wasn't interested and decided to make them break up out of spite. Definitely not OP's friend. I don't understand what Kim's motivation would be here. By telling you, she loses both of you as friends permanently with nothing to gain. Mike, on the other hand, has a ton to lose by confessing to an affair if he's having one, so it would be in his best interest to say that Kim's lying. Occam's razor, I would trust Kim. The weekend in question was 4 months ago, and it's likely she just got the date wrong. This is what is making me hesitate. She really couldn't have gotten anything good out of it. If Mike had cheated and we broke up, he most likely would have not been with her because she spilled. Why would she lie then? Either way, I would have ended my friendship with her and he would have not been with her. Or maybe he broke his affair and she did it as a revenge? That's the only possible explanation. Trust but verify. Talk to his parents about the Monday lunches. Where do they like to go? How often is it? What do they like about it? You need ideas from them because if someone in your family is looking for advice. I could do this, yes. It doesn't sit that well with me to go behind his back, but at least it will put my worries to rest. But then what happened that weekend? And what if he doesn't go every Monday? I can't ask his mom if he is really there every Monday without raising suspicion and make it obvious I'm doubting him. You don't ask her like that. You ask her how often they have lunch and what she thinks about meeting up weekly. You're thinking about setting up the same arrangement with your parents or someone you know is, and you're asking her what she thinks as a parent because she's got the experience. If boyfriend has been telling you every Monday and mom tells you every Monday, then you're clear. If boyfriend has been telling you every Monday and mom tells you it's inconsistent, then you've got some talking to do because someone is pulling some shenanigans. Go ahead and tell him that you talked to his mom, not in an accusatory way. Either way it goes so you can get that off your chest quickly. Also, give some thought about asking Kim to see the phone number verification on WhatsApp, and/or have boyfriend reinstall WhatsApp and open it up to see if there is any conversation thread with Kim. If either of them can't do these things, that is BS because you are being lied to one way or the other, and you deserve the truth. Now for the update. So I'm updating so I can leave this story behind and move on. Thanks for all the advice. After reading all the answers, I just decided to verify if he really does have lunch with his parents on Mondays, and ended up doing almost everything proposed. This morning, I called his mom to ask if I could join them today, and she was exalted. I didn't tell him I was coming and he was really happy to see me there. We had lunch at his parents' house, which is where they usually eat. In the end, I managed to verify without going behind his back and alerting his parents. At one point during lunch I said, "It's awesome how you have this Monday tradition," or something like that. And his mom just kept going on about how it was a way for them to catch up with each other. They, him and his siblings, are so busy all the time, and to share some family time. She lamented the fact that his older sister often couldn't make it to their lunch because of her unpredictable schedule. I got invited to join the tradition, but declined since this is their time to be with their son, and I don't want to intrude on that. Honestly, it felt really comfortable, and I felt like a part of his family, so I had a great time. Mike indeed does have lunch with them every Monday. We decided to clear his name once and for all this afternoon, and he downloaded WhatsApp again on his phone. The last messages he exchanged with her were from 3 months ago. Maybe some got deleted automatically? They barely communicated through WhatsApp. I did not see any hole in the conversations, and most were about me anyway, like, "Have you seen OP? She is not answering her phone," and stuff like that. On her phone there was a profile picture when she showed me the texts, but his was blank and he said he never put one. Which is weird, but that's his type. She tends to contact him first, but she just does that to everyone anyway. And there was nothing flirty, just, hello, hey. When we were finished, he asked me if I was feeling better now and to just come to him if I have other doubts. This afternoon, he reminded me why I am so attached to him with his care. He didn't get defensive at any time and even left me with his phone as I was still searching. Tried the GPS thing, but nothing came out. When he went to buy some cake with his mom, he teased me about putting a keylogger on his phone. I feel reassured and hope Kim will stay away from us now. A part of me wonders just why she invented this whole story, but I would rather keep this question unanswered than bring drama into my relationship again. A part of me wonders just why did she invent this whole story? Because she was jealous over what you have, a trusting relationship with a good guy. Somewhere in her mind, it isn't fair that you have what she wants. So what better way to get it? If you are miserable, then you no longer have anything better than her, in her mind. Don't let her back into your life. She knows what she did was wrong and is probably going to be mad when she finds out it did not work out like she thought it would. I would also talk to a few close friends and let them know why you are cutting her out, before she runs off and tells everyone how horrible your boyfriend is for screwing around on you. It's even worse than that. Not only Kim wants what OP has, but in her mind it's, why does she have this and I don't? She sounds like an awful and judgmental friend. I'm surprised her flaws weren't visible before this incident. Had a similar thing happen to me, and I ended up breaking about with my significant other over it because I'd known my ex-friend longer, even though there was no real evidence. The moment I did it, I knew I'd made a mistake just from gut feeling alone. You did the right thing, OP. I could spend weeks wondering why my ex-friend did it, except that she's a compulsive liar and didn't think anything would come of it. Just focus on moving on with your life without her. What happened? How did you find out your friend was lying? It wasn't as extreme as this story, but she told me things about how supposedly violent and aggressive my boyfriend was, and she would say things like, all our other friends have noticed. Boyfriend showed me texts where she'd ask him a question and twist his response in her retelling. Boyfriend took me back after lots of apologies, so everything was ultimately fine. Last story. Update. My roommate tried to kiss me while drunk. I rejected her to not take advantage. Now she's avoiding me and is embarrassed. Should I reach out? Original post. I, 25 male, have been living in a student dorm with 4 other people for almost a year. We all share a kitchen and common areas. One of the roommates is a 21 female I've always gotten along with pretty well. Friendly, normal roommate vibes, nothing flirty from either side, or so I thought. Last weekend, I was eating dinner alone on the couch in the living room. She came in clearly quite drunk or high on alcohol, sat right next to me, and we started chatting about random stuff. Out of nowhere, she leaned in and tried to kiss me. She was really unsteady and her eyes were glassy, so my immediate thought was, she's way too drunk for this to be a real decision, and if anything happened, it would look like I took advantage of her. So I kind of froze, gently moved away, said something awkward like, hey, you've had a lot to drink, and excused myself to the kitchen. I figured she'd wake up the next day, barely remember it, and everything would go back to normal. It didn't. Since that night, she has completely avoided me. Won't make eye contact, leaves the room if I enter. Skipped our usual group snack nights 3 days in a row, which she never does. One of our other roommates pulled me aside and said she's mortified and embarrassed and doesn't know how to face me after throwing herself at me while wasted. I genuinely don't think less of her at all. I rejected her in the moment because I was trying to be respectful, not because I'm disgusted or uninterested. I actually do find her attractive, but that's beside the point right now. I just don't want her to feel ashamed every time she sees me for the rest of the year we're living together. My question is, should I reach out and try to clear the air? If yes, what do I even say so it doesn't make things more awkward or put pressure on her? Or is it better to just pretend nothing happened and let her come around on her own? I don't want to make her feel worse, but the current silent treatment is painful for both of us, and the vibe in the flat is off. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Definitely talk it out in private. You have already perfectly described what it was, and that you didn't reject her but the state she was in. Of course, if you think there is mutual attraction, there is a course of actions to consider. I can see she is attracted to me, and even I am attracted to her. Maybe I would have kissed her back if she was in a steady state, But I really want to tell her now that I have a crush on her. But she isn't facing me or even replying when I wish her good morning or hello. Don't know what to do. I will write a text to her telling her I want to talk to her in private. Yep, text her that you want to talk. If she doesn't respond, choose a good moment where she is in her room and ask to come in. You say it's beside the point if you find her attractive. Okay, but it is right there next to the point. Would you want anything to happen? Just theoretically. Maybe I would have kissed her back if she wasn't drunk, as I have a big crush on her. So it is relevant to the point. That's okay. If you're ready to shoot your shot, tell her you want to try again sober. Yeah, we'll text her right now that we need to talk, and we'll confess my feelings and ask her out. Or we'll tell her I am ready to try it out sober. We'll update you later. Now for the update 1 day later. Some of you asked for an update. So yeah, here we go. I have given the link to the original post for others. Took everyone's advice and just sent her a simple text yesterday. Hey, everything's totally fine from my side. No weirdness at all. Can we talk for a minute whenever you're free? 5 minutes later, I got a knock on my door. She looked super nervous, immediately started apologizing for basically throwing herself at me while hammered. I just laughed a little and told her it really wasn't a big deal, that I only stopped it because she was way too drunk, and I didn't want things to be messy and wanted neither of us to regret it later. Then I took a deep breath and said I actually really like her and have for months. She went quiet for like 3 to 4 seconds, got this huge smile, said, "Wait, really?" And then basically launched at me for the longest hug ever. Told me she likes me too. And I gave her a kiss on her head and asked her out. So, we're going out for dinner and drinks on Saturday. She already promised no blacking out and will try it out sober this time. Honestly, feel like I'm floating. Thanks to everyone who told me to stop overthinking and just text her. You guys saved me from months of awkward hallway dodging.